Hello, my dear students and dear teachers. A very warm welcome to our today's class. Our today's lecture is of class 10th and it's a beautiful poem, Death the Leveler. I am your presenter, Bindu Gulati, Assistant Director from SPC English. I am dealing with the subject English. Identify the following personalities and tell me what makes us remember them. Dear students, are you familiar with the pictures? ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਛਾਣਦੇ ਹੋ? I'm sure you do. Here, the first picture is of Mother Teresa. Second is Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Third is Mahatma Gandhi. Now, how do we say that we remember these people? ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕਦਮ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਯਾਦ ਕਰਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਮਾਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਿਆ? Because they are known for their good deeds and actions for the betterment of humanity. They are no more. ਇਹ ਲੋਕ ਇਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਇਸ ਦੁਨੀਆ 'ਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਹਨ, but we still remember them. All people must die, but some people remain active and alive in our hearts even after they die. Why? Let us read the poem Death the Leveler to know the answer. Before we proceed on to the poem, here is an introduction of the poet James Shirley. Shirley James was born in 1596 in London. Educated at Oxford and Cambridge, he worked as a schoolmaster most of his life. His reputation as a writer rests largely on his plays. He wrote about 40 plays, including tragedies, romantic comedies, and comedies of manners. His famous songs and lyrics are found in his plays. So I'll just give you 2 lines summary of this whole slide which says James Shirley उसदा जन्म देखो, place देखो and उदा profession की सी school master and he wrote about 40 plays just which tragedies we see. So this poem we are going to read is one of his creation about tragedies. As the name suggests, the title suggests, it's death. It's about death. But don't get disheartened. We are not going to talk about death of somebody. Let us see the philosophical point of view James Shirley is offering us. You can always interpret every poem from your point of view. हर poem ਨੂੰ ਬੱਚਿਓ literature ਦਾ ਇੱਕ piece ਹੈ, ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਅੰਦਾਜ਼ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਸੋਚ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ. ਮੈਂ ਜੋ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ present ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਮੇਰੀ ਆਪਣੀ philosophy, ਕੁਝ ਜੇਮਸ ਸ਼ਰਲੀ ਦੀ philosophy ਨੂੰ ਜੋ ਮੈਂ ਸਮਝ ਪਾਈ ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਹੈ. You might differ with me. The main objective of this chapter or of this presentation is actually not to contest on what James Shirley or I am going to tell you. The main objective of this lesson is, or of this poem is, that we know what are the contents of the poem. What is the meaning of the poem? What actually this wants to convey? What is the moral of the poem? And what are the questions which might be asked from the examination point of view? Before we go on to the stanzas, you might be curious about the poem. We have a picture in front of us for few of the word meanings. Look, I'm not giving you word meanings in Punjabi, but I'll be explaining to you in Punjabi. But I would request you to associate every word meaning, every meaning you are looking for in English with pictures. Believe me, you'll never forget them. And if you go into translation method, you will remember the Punjabi meaning, but probably you will forget the English one. So to be familiar with English, try to think in English. Blood. ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹੋਗੇ blood ਤਾਂ is very easy. But here again I would like to tell you that every meaning or every word changes its meaning to its context. ਹਰ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਦਾ ਇੱਕ meaning ਉਹਦੇ context ਦੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ. Blood ਦਾ ਅਸਲੀ meaning खून और जो तुसी उसनु एसोसिएट करते हो ओदे नाल है. बट हियर blood means birth. by blood. He is connected to me by blood. He is my blood relative. That nowhere means कि वो मेरा खून दा, I mean something associated with something criminal. It is blood, खून दा रिश्ता. Substantial is important. It's very substantial. The information is substantial. And I would also request you that you try using these words in your day-to-day language. If you leave these words here and just concentrate on the learning of the meanings, though of course it's the first step, you'll be focusing only on the meanings. So I would request you to use these words you have learned today in your language, in written or in the spoken form, in any one way or the other. Armor. Look, armor meaning here in the slide is a metal suit worn by soldiers to protect their body in battlefield. But can you have a look at the picture, please? Are you familiar with this picture? So this is an armor, kavach. Now, very important word, scepter. Now here is a picture which has a king who has a crown and a scepter. How do we pronounce this? It's scepter. Again, I would like to recommend for the new words you are introduced to, if you want to learn the pronunciation, you can very well use other channels of pronunciation. There are online dictionaries, there are online Google pronunciations. Even I learned this pronunciation yesterday, scepter. I used to pronounce it as scepter. So it is not scepter, it is scepter. And what is the scepter? Here. I hope you are familiar with this. You must have seen so many mythological serials in our Indian television. And most of the kings, they have this scepter and they have a crown. Crown you are familiar with? I don't think so. I need to simplify that. Crooked. Crooked is bent or twist. You have seen a eucalyptus tree? I'm sure you must have. सफेदे दा पेड़ बिल्कुल सीधा हुंदा है. But some of the trees, they are very crooked. Crooked in the sense is बहुत टेढ़े मेढ़े हुंदे हैं. So bent or twist. I didn't have much of the space here to put that picture, but please, I leave this work to you that you find out a picture related to crooked and you will be able to retain it longer. Then scythe. It is not scythe, it is scythe. Again a pronunciation with a twist. And are you familiar with this? If you are not familiar with scythe, I'm sure you are familiar with this. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਗਰ scythe ਬਾਰੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਣਦੇ कि ਉਹ ਕੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰਾਂ 'ਚ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਹੈ. ਐਂਡ ਈਵਨ ਦਿਸ ਸਪੇਡ, ਅਗਰ ਘਰਾਂ 'ਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ, ਆਸ-ਪਾਸ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਹੈ. ਐਂਡ ਇਟ ਇਜ਼ ਅ ਟੂਲ ਫॉर ਡਿਗਿੰਗ ਅਰਥ ਐਂਡ ਇਟ ਇਜ਼ ਫॉर ਕਟਿੰਗ ਦ ਕ੍ਰੌਪਸ. ਜਦੋਂ ਕਟਾਈ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਰਥ ਨੂੰ ਡਿਗ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਕਿਸੇ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਖੋਦਣਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਦੀ ਇਸਤੇਮਾਲ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ. Look, I am giving you a glimpse of glossary much before the poem because I shall not be taking up glossary while doing the poem. It really spoils the beauty as well as the technique of teaching poetry. Learning new words and meanings. Again, we are continuing that. Laurels. Laurels ਸਾਡੇ ਜਿੱਤ, ਸਾਡੀਆਂ victories, ਸਾਡੇ prizes which we do when we achieve something. That is, we bring laurels to our family. Captives. Can you see captives here? A person who's tied or a captive or behind the bars. We are captives of our own imaginations, of our own thoughts. We keep the animals captive in the zoo. But here it is used for human prisoners. Victor. Victory. We all are associated with this word. Somewhere or the other you must have heard of it. I don't think it's a new word. Victor, the one who wins. And victim. It might sound same, but it is entirely a different meaning. The person who has lost, who feels he has lost. He is a victim. Bechara nahi kende. Poor me. That is a victim. Now we come to the poem. And I shall do a model reading first before taking up the stanza-wise explanation. The glories of our blood and state are shadows, not substantial things. There is no armor against fate. Death lays his icy hand on kings. Scepter and crown must tumble down, and in the dust be equal made with the poor crooked scythe and spade. Some men with swords reap the field and plant fresh laurels where they kill, but their strong nerves at last must yield, they tame but one another still. Early or late they stoop to fate and must give up their murmuring breath when they, pale captives, creep to death. The garlands wither on your brow, then boast no more your mighty deeds upon death's purple altar now. See where the victor pleads. All heads must come to the cold tomb. Only the actions of the just smell sweet and blossom in the dust. So since we have gone through first model reading, I'm sure you must be having some of you books in your hands. Even if you don't, you can search again on internet about the sonnets, about this sonnet. Now when we go through the first reading of the poem, we just familiarize ourselves with the glossary. ਅਸੀਂ ਕੁਝ glossary ਹੁਣੇ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਰੀਡਿੰਗ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਅੰਦਾਜ਼ਾ ਦੇ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਪੋਇਟ ਔਰ ਇਹ ਪੋਇਮ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਕੀ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਬਹੁਤਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਅੰਦਾਜ਼ਾ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਹੋਵੇਗਾ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਪੋਇਮ ਦਾ ਮੇਨ ਮਕਸਦ ਜਾਂ ਮੋਰਲ ਜਾਂ ਇਹ ਪੋਇਮ ਦੀ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਇਹ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਨਾਮ ਵੀ ਦੱਸ ਰਿਹਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਇਸ ਪੋਇਮ ਦਾ that is death. So we are not going to again talk about death in a contextual way. We are going to talk about death in a philosophical way. So don't get disheartened that we are going to talk about this reality of life. But yes, since it is incorporated in your syllabus, we have to learn it at this stage of our life. Now I come to paraphrasing stanza 1. First stanza I'll explain to you, and I would again request you to go through it once, twice, thrice before you start searching for Punjabi meanings. Once you stop that and you start looking for the meanings in English and you try learning it as it is, understanding it as it is, your hold on language increases. The glories of our blood and state are shadows, not substantial things. There is no armor against fate. Death lays his icy hand on kings. The glories of our blood and state are shadows, not substantial things. So the poet says, all the achievements of a person are temporary and they are not substantial. They are not everlasting. ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਗਲੋਰੀਜ਼ ਦੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਅੱਜ ਮੈਂ ਜਿੱਤ ਗਿਆ, ਅੱਜ ਮੈਂ ਹਾਰ ਗਿਆ, ਅੱਜ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਹੋਇਆ, ਅੱਜ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੋਇਆ, that is not substantial, that is not the reality, that is not everlasting, that is a shadow. Shadow चली जाती है ना रात ਨੂੰ, so that is temporary. Shadow is temporary. There is no armor against fate. Death lays his icy hand on kings. So fate is kismat. We have seen armor in our previous discussion. So when it comes to death, there is no escape. There is no armor. There is no protection. When death arrives, it arrives to even the kings. It is the ultimate destination of all human beings. And no armor, no protection, nothing offers protection from this merciless hands. Now, in the poem, can you see icy hands? Why icy hands is used for death? Because when somebody dies, he becomes ice cold. So death is known to be very brutal. Death is known to be very emotionless and icy. And death comes to even kings. So, death is the ultimate destination of all human beings, and no armor offers protection from the merciless hands of death. It does not spare even the most powerful kings. So, even if somebody is a king, even somebody is a millionaire, even somebody is so rich, have you heard somebody not dying? Have you heard somebody living forever? We saw some pictures of Mother Teresa, Mahatma Gandhi. Despite of their good deeds, despite of their so good work for humanity, are they still living? No. Everyone dies. Everyone would die. Death is a great leveler. Now comes the title of the poem, Death the Leveler. What is a leveler? Leveler is something that levels. We think we are kings. We think we are better than the others. But when death arrives, everybody is same. The same earth everybody lies in. The earth does not discriminate between a king or a poor. Scepter and crown must tumble down, and in the dust be equal made with the poor, crooked scythe and spade. This is a very beautiful set of 4 lines. Scepter we saw and crown we saw on that king must tumble down. Tumble down is roll down. They fall on the ground. Scepter and crown, they fall on the ground. Kings die. Their scepters, their armors, their crowns, they also fall down when they die. And in the dust be equal made. So they fall on the same dust where there is scythe and spade. We saw that picture of scythe and spade. So in Punjabi I would like to tell you just this, कि चाहे किसी महाराजा दा क्राउन है, चाहे किसी महाराजा दा एक बहुत वड्डा आर्मर है, चाहे किसी महाराजा दे कोलो बहुत वड्डा रूलिंग स्टिक है, लेकिन डेथ ने ये नहीं देखना और उन्हां दा वो क्राउन, उन्हां दा वो सैप्टर उत्थे ही गिरिया मिलेगा जिथे उस पुअर गरीब किसान दा या मजदूर दा साइथ जिदे नाल वो फसल कटदा है और स्पेड जिदे नाल वो अपनी अर्थ नू डिग करदा है ओदे टूल्स पे है. सो फॉर रिच पर्सन टूल्स माइट बी डिफरेंट. फॉर अ पुअर पर्सन और फॉर I would not call a poor person, I would call somebody who thinks himself to be only a laborer and his only weapons are scythe and spade, they also lie on the same dust. उसे मिट्टी दे विच ओ भी पए हुंदे है. So death is a great leveler. It does not discriminate between high and the low, rich and the poor. I hope you understood these lines beautifully, that death does not make a difference between high and low, rich and the poor. It falls on rich kings and poor peasants equally. So even if the person is a poor peasant, it will again catch everybody. So poet uses the word scepter and crown as the symbol of royal authority, kingship. Scythe and spade as symbol of farmers or laborers. Death turns everything into the same dust. So that means what? The poet has not used here the word king or the poor laborer, but these are the symbols that scepter and crown, scythe and spade, they all lie in the same dust. Some men with swords reap the field and plant fresh laurels where they kill, but their strong nerves at last must yield, they tame but one another still. So some men with swords, swords we know, what are the swords? With which they fight, and plant fresh prizes when they kill. So what do these four lines mean? The poet says that the success earned by the greatest of warriors means nothing before death. So even if somebody fights, nobody is spared from death. The brave soldiers display great courage in the battlefield and win honor by killing other men. So even if a person kills some people and say, oh yes, I'm a winner, I have won the battle. But even the strongest of the warriors kneel before death one day. So what does again this reiterate? That some men with swords they kill in the field and they boast that yes, I have killed so many people. But even if they are so strong, they tame but one another. So they cannot tame death. Tame is किसी नु पालतू बनाना. They cannot tame anybody else. They cannot tame the ultimate reality. They cannot tame God. They can only tame one another. That means what? मैं ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜਿੱਤਿਆ, मैं ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੋਂ ਵਿਜय ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ, but not on death. Early or late, they stoop to fate. ਚਾਹੇ ਜਲਦੀ ਹੋਏ, ਚਾਹੇ late, ਉਹ ਕਿਸਮਤ ਦੇ ਸ਼ਿਕਾਰ ਹੋ ਹੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹਨ. ਚਾਹੇ ਕੋਈ ਜਲਦੀ ਮਰ ਜਾਏ, ਚਾਹੇ ਕੋਈ late ਮਰ ਜਾਏ, and must give up their murmuring breath when they pale captives creep to death. So everybody has to stoop. Stoop is to bend. किस्मत दे अगे सब नू झुकना पैंदा है. And must give up their breath. They have to leave their breath. When they pale captives, everybody becomes pale when they die. When everybody creeps to death, creeps is slowly go towards death. But everybody has to go there. So the greatest of fighters or the conquerors or the warriors, they fall prey to death. They all die. They become pale. Their skin becomes pale. They are no longer red. They are helpless. When death arrives, they move slowly towards death. No matter how many men they have killed or captivated, they cannot control death. The garlands wither on your brow, then boast no more your mighty deeds. Upon death's purple altar now, see where the victim victor bleeds. So garlands, har, wither on your brow. Wither is when some flower dies. So garlands of the flowers, they die. Even if we are victorious today, those garlands which we are respected with, we throw them away. And we cannot say today also that yesterday we won. Because death's purple altar now, see where the victim bleeds. In the last stanza of the poem, the poet says that no matter what great deeds man does, his prizes and achievements, so garlands are what? His prizes and achievements will not last long. All his glories and achievements will fade away. So what does poet say here? The garlands wither. Wither means they fade. They go away. All the glories and achievements will fade away. Death is the greatest equalizer. Death levels everybody. Death makes everybody same. See where the victim bleeds. Death के आगे, death the purple altar de aage. Why death is purple? Because there is a gloominess. So greys, purples, they are associated with this. And we cannot say when somebody approaches death that whether he was a victor or whether he was a victim. कि वो जेतू सी या उन्हें किसी नु हराया सी. When the person lies on the deathbed, that difference cannot be made. All heads must come to the cold tomb. This is a very cold line which says, all heads, each one of us, whether we are wearing a crown or whether we are not that rich enough, but we have a head, all of us have to go that cold tomb. Tomb is qabr. हर एक नू उस ठंडी कब्र विच जाना है. Since the poet has been brought up in London, so in all the Christian rituals, people are basically rested in tombs. Their graves are dug. उन्हां नू दफनाया जांदा है. So he says everybody, may it be a victor, may it be a victim, he must come to that cold tomb. And why cold? It is generally having that kind of marble outlook, and it is very cold to touch, and as well as death is very cold. There is no warmth in it. The blood is no longer hot or warm. Only actions of the just smell sweet and blossom in the dust. These are the most beautiful lines of this poem. What do they say? They have to sacrifice their lives at the altar of death eventually. They shall be buried under the earth. Men may die, but their good deeds or actions live and spread their fragrance all around. So last two lines अपनियां की कह रही ने असी सब ने मर जाना है. We all would die. Even I would die. Even you would die. You are too young to understand this though. But what will remain when we die? What remained when Mother Teresa died? Why do we remember so many people when they die? How do we remember them? Now we come back to that first slide. We instantly guess or judge their names. Why? Because of their good deeds. Because only what we leave behind is the sweetness and the good work we have done throughout our life, and in that dust that spells forever. So students, with this we come to the paraphrasing of our poem. But to recapitulate it, I would just like to tell you few things once again, that this poem is not only about the sadness of death. It is not depicting about the death of somebody. It is actually telling us that death spares no one. Even if he is a king or a poor man, death spares nobody. So everybody has to turn to that dust. उस डस्ट विच सब ने मिल जाना है. असी किस चीज़ दे वास्ते सोची असी अज विक्टोरियस हाँ. असी बहुत गुमान करदे हाँ. We are so proud of ourselves. We are so full of ourselves. It's only I. It's only me or my family. Nothing is going to last forever. So we should focus that we all have to die. Since we all have to die, throughout the time we are given to live, we have to do the best of our work. We all have to help humanity. We have come on this earth to learn our lessons, to do our best. And if we remember this, that we all have to die and nothing will go with us, if we keep reminding ourselves this, I think our life would be more fruitful, because then we would be living each of our day with an objective that we have to do our best. We have to give back to the society. So with this, we come to the paraphrasing. We come to the end of the paraphrasing of this poem. Now we shall be taking up the post-reading activities in your next chapter or in your next telecast. Thank you.